How important is mission and purpose in people's lives?
If you have something to say and you want to say it, then say it. I want you to walk by faith, not by sight.
Why? Why
Why would God crush us with that kind of information?
Purpose. Seems too easy of an answer. A lot of people, they need more clarity.
But I don't know, and you don't know, all the ramifications, downstream consequences of this meeting. I know not what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. There will be occasions when something pops up.
I feel like I'm supposed to, but you're not really supposed to. Is there hope?
Yes, there's hope. Christianity has died many times.
I think a lot of the things that I think about, especially most recently, is purpose. Why, trying to understand why I'm in certain positions, how I get to certain places. It's constantly trying to figure that out, right? Like why? And people say, well, it's God. Okay, great. It's not that satisfying of an answer, actually, because it seems too easy of an answer. A lot of people, they need more clarity. How do you kind of gap the purpose and the why of people's missions?
Okay,
and how important is mission and purpose in people's lives?
So the fact that God ordains everything gives us the ground for figuring out our purpose, but it doesn't give you the purpose. So I know that God ordained this moment, but I don't know, and you don't know, all the ramifications, downstream consequences of this meeting. What's going to come from this? We don't know. So we trust God. This is why it goes back to our loving Father being the one who, like the hymn says, I know not what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. God is the one who holds the future. So when I was talking to your folks that all those years ago, neither they nor I had this moment in view. We did not know that this was going to happen, but it happened because of that. And God is going to bring good out of it. So I think it was Chekhov who said in talking about writing a short story or writing a novel, if someone props a shotgun by the mantle in the first pages of the story, that shotgun's got to come back into the story later on. You don't just randomly place things. At the last judgment, God, the master storyteller, is going to tie off every loose end, every detail, everything is going to be wrapped up. And all of the redeemed are going to, with one voice, say, that was the best story we ever heard.
I kind of want to know how the story ends, though. You know, I think that's the curiosity in people.
Well, yeah, but that's the curiosity. But God says, oh, no, I want you to walk by faith, not by sight. So I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be alive tomorrow. I don't know that, James says in the Epistle of James, our lives are a mist. We don't know those things. The future is closed to us. And so we ought not to be confident, overconfident, proud with regard to the future. And so James says, come now, you who say we're going to go to this city and do business and make money. He says, you don't know that. You don't know that. What you can do is faithfully serve God in the present. You can look back at the past and see his handiwork on how he's brought you to this point, and you can trust him that he is tying together an amazing purpose, but it's trust. We're walking by faith. And one of the names that the Bible has for Christians is believers. I'm a believer. I believe that he is good. I believe that God is good all the time. I believe that God is sovereign all the time. I believe that God is not going to tell me what's going to come to pass 10 years from now, because frankly, between us, I couldn't handle it. Right? If God, why would God crush us with that kind of information? Right? We should trust him now.
I feel like because in what we're doing online, what I'm doing online, it's still in its infancy. I haven't been doing that long. Somehow I've gotten to where we are. And a lot of times I think, well, God has created this situation and put me in this place, which I'm grateful for and humbled by, and trying to do the best and learn every day.
Right.
Meet interesting people, have interesting conversations, widen my perspective on how I see, try to see it through a more logical, honest, genuine perspective. In doing so, you start seeing the effects of God within your work and what you're doing. At some point, what started as a secular endeavor, you start to see work of God throughout what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you continue to move in a secular fashion, or once you know that, are you required to move towards kind of a more right side?
Okay. I would say it depends on how you're defining the word secular. So there's an older Christian definition of secular, which is perfectly fine. Secular means bicycle repair, computer coding, podcasting. Those are all secular endeavors, meaning that they're not preaching sermons. It's not administering word and sacrament. It's not singing psalms in church. It's secular. But secular, in the older Christian definition, secular does not mean godless. Okay? So let's say, just to take an illustration, if your whole thing was sportscasting, right, and you reported on Major League Baseball, and God started doing something in your life, I think your vocation should still be Major League Baseball. That's what you're doing. And doesn't have to be Jesus all the time. But there'll be occasions when something pops up, and you shouldn't be ashamed of your faith when something pops up. Let's say there's a controversy with one of the players who confessed Christ, and there's an uproar.
A kicker who gives a graduation speech.
Yeah. A kicker who, what's his name? Butthurt? he hurt some feelings. He hurt some feelings. So when that pops up, your Christianity is there. It's present. But you don't have to, I don't think that the fulfillment of the Great Commission or thinking Christianly about all things turns the world into one giant Sunday school. That's not what it's all about. I think it was Martin Luther who said, being a Christian cobbler doesn't mean making shoes with crosses on them. Being a Christian cobbler means making good shoes to the glory of God. So, you should continue doing what you're doing. And to the extent that explicit faith issues come into it, like it's doing right now, let them come in. But there's no need to suddenly
become an evangelist.
It doesn't have to turn into Sunday school all the time.
It's the hard part, because once you start seeing, there's kind of a inherent desire to like, well, I feel like I'm supposed to, but you're not really supposed to, because the world doesn't need everyone. You need people somewhere speaking to the middle, right?
And I would say there's a difference between feeling like you're supposed to and feeling like you want to. One of the reasons podcasts take off is because somebody has something to say. And if you have something to say and you want to say it, then say it. But if you think, oh, I'm a Christian, and maybe is there a Bible verse somewhere that says I've got to say Jesus every 20th word? No, nothing like that.
Maybe we'll have a Jesus counter on the bottom from now on.
Yeah.
So every time we do it, like how many times you reference it? Because sometimes we talk about topics that would definitely not be in the realm of Christian.
Yeah.
But I think that's important too, just to challenge people's worldviews. Again, I think for me at least, it's important to encourage people to come to their own decisions and learn to think for those, separate themselves from this crazy matrix that we're served.
Right.
It's a wild world these days.
It's a wild world.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I think this is amazing. We'll definitely leave links for everyone to go check out Pastor Doug Wilson and everything that he does. It's so much stuff out there. And I encourage people to come visit Moscow. It is amazing here. I never expected kind of the warm reception that we've gotten since we've gotten here. The community around here, how beautiful of a place this is.
It's gorgeous.
And somehow this has become the center mecca of good versus evil. You can feel it around. Can we just talk about that real quickly?
What's that?
The fight between good versus evil that's happening within this city, and how it seems to have kind of come together right here.
Yeah.
And everyone from all over the country who believe in what you're doing, they're starting to move here just to be closer to it.
Hundreds of people have moved here, and it's a weird thing, because what's happening all across America started to happen here maybe 10 or 15 years earlier. So we were sort of the prototype of the cultural clashes that are happening elsewhere. So we're farther down the road with that. But I don't think anything fundamentally different is happening here. I just think we're farther along in it. And part of that has to do with how self-conscious we were about being Christian in education and being Christian in the arts and being Christian in our worship and so on.
If this place is 10 or 15 years ahead, meaning you can almost see the future of what America may eventually be, is there hope?
Yes, there's hope. But like I said earlier, not in politics, not in politicians. There's hope because we're Christians. G.K. Chesterton once said that Christianity has died many times. But he said, that's all right, because we serve a God who knows the way out of the grave.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.